such amazing technology.
This will be a delicious piece of cake!
Double demon fang!
Healing circle!
I'm sorry to trouble you.
Sorry, you do the same for me.
Radiant Raider!
I'm in your
This
debt.
is gonna need all of us together!
Now or never.
Gemini Aqua! Outstanding form!
Being interrupted. No time to break this night.
Infernal turret! It's wide open!
You won't escape me.
Infernal turret! Azure Storm! Demon fang!
Do it!
Still!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
We can really make weapons with this? What are those? They look like Shionne's thorns, and with flowers too.
Not real ones, though. They're just like that flower growing out of Renan.
We must be getting close to the Great Spirit now.
Hey, Rinwell, what was that thing you said about how a little bit of Dahna's Great Spirit is inside all of us?
Right. That's why Dahna's Great Spirit is so much more diluted. Weak, even. Whether it was a choice so it didn't overpower others, or just the way it is anyone's guess.
If that's true, then wouldn't it mean Dahna's will could never form under natural conditions?
Yeah, sounds like that's probably the case.
So if Dahna exists within all of us, then what if something occurred that brought everyone's hearts and minds together as one? That unity could potentially act as Dahna's will.
You mean if everybody was, like, thinking the exact same thing at the exact same time? Come on, there's no way we could pull that off.
I know it's a long shot, but it might work.
Let's assume that's even possible for a second. Would it even be enough to fight back against Renna's Great Spirit?
If nothing else, it might be an option if we can't use the Renasalma.
Things are different here than on the surface.
That shows how deeply we've ventured into Renan.
And how close we've come to the real enemy.
This will be a delicious piece of cake!
Another incantation ruined.
You picked the wrong fight!
Where are you going?
Sword Rain Alpha!
Careful! It has some kind of camouflage!
In a bind?
Searing flame! Reload! Epic you!
Far enough!
Gemini Aqua!
This one's all mine!
Searing
Double
flame!
Demon Fang!
Mercy.
You picked the wrong fight!
Arrow
Sword
form!
Rain Alpha!
Freeze
Sword Rain Alpha!
Ice tornado!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Vanquish darkness! Freezing storm!
Rending Blast!
Ice tornado!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Our
Sword Rain Alpha! Sword Rain
Leave the
Alpha!
enemy's arcs to me! Lunar corruption!
No complaints here!
This one's all mine! Ignite!
Shattering pieces!
Attack!
I'm ready!
Astral energy!
Say no more!
Well, looky here!
So here's a question. We came all this way to Renan on the assumption the Renasalma's here, right?
Just don't say it, Law.
Yeah, but I'm just saying...
I said don't.
I can understand why you might be concerned, Law. But you need to remember that there are people it affects more directly than you.
Oh, sorry. sorry.
We've managed to make it this far believing. Losing faith now won't do us any good. We're better off focusing our anxiety elsewhere.
Such as?
The Great Spirit. If Hevrecht 35's to be believed, our enemy won't just be handing over the Renas Alma to us. At least, not without a fight.
Not only that, but that same enemy just gulped down more than an entire world's worth of astral energy.
Point taken. It may be strange to say, but when I'm fighting, or at least know what needs to be done, it helps me a lot. I don't doubt myself as much. So thanks, both of you.
Get lost!
Resonate with
Dance in the wind!
You're mine! Win!
In a bind?
Devastation! All in order. More Suko?
Keep calm and take them down!
This one isn't normal. Strike like that! We got fire!
ensure you
I've got
survive
this!
it.
Let a marksman handle it!
Ignite! We did it! All yours!
More incoming!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Freeze Lancer!
Negative gate! Rising Wyvern!
Eat dirt!
Hurricane Thrust! Start up!
I never miss! Let the marksman handle it!
Rising Wyvern!
Bloody Do it!
You're mine!
Reinforcements?
Lightning Thrust! Rising Falcon!
Magic is there! None shall escape my
The
judgment!
flame inside me yearns to be let free! We did it!
As impressive as always.
Sword Rain Alpha!
Here I hope I wasn't
You
too.
going?
No, I mean, you're even better than ever. I've never seen Shionne actually look flustered.
No further!
Holy
This one's all mine! Far enough! Double demon fang!
You are in tip-top shape.
As soon as I'm done here, come help out.
How could a girl ever say no?
Sword Rain Alpha! Eat dirt!
Dance in the wind!
More?
In here!
Sword Rain Alpha! In an instant! Impact Claw! We work well together.
Like a finely timed walk.
Sword Rain Alpha!
Primed and ready! Oh, magic is there!
Please, guys.
Where are you going? I'm not there with the others!
Victory is within reach.
Dig deep, and we can do this.
Impress it further, little one.
Magic is there!
Storm!
Let's get you off the ground! Where are you going? Now!
Sword Rain Kisara! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
More?
Great with darkness! Pierce evil!
apart! Bloody
Ready and ready! All day!
Sword Rain Alpha! Burn!
Leave the enemy's arms to me.
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Glare spear! Pierce evil!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Only that
Arctic
like I
on!
walk!
Burn! We did it!
Far beyond the dark side!
Smash you!
I'm ready! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Remember to tell me if you need healing.
I expect you'll be in high demand if that's the case.
Where are you going?
Sword Rain
Require complete focus.
no further to be let free. You picked the wrong fight.
Pesky airborne scoundrel.
Sounds like a job for yours truly.
Forgive me. This is my craft.
In here. Prime is right. Got lightning.
Dance on the wind.
I never miss.
Spirits within the soil. Awaken and
Glacial spear. Pierce evil. Glacial spear. Pierce evil. They've got me surrounded. I won't give up.
Spirits within the soil.
Shattering
Awaken and
the
wreak havoc.
pieces. Attack time.
Masterful dash. On catapult.
That'll bring you down.
Take this. No escape.
In a bind.
Sword Rain Alpha.
Ready to go.
Begin. Tempting.
Not in your dreams.
I'll grind you into dust.
Take this. Sword Rain Alpha. It's gone. Sword Rain Alpha. Burn in hell.
Seismic rupture.
Sword Rain Alpha.
Behold. The earth pulse. Tectonic vision. Soaring blast. A charge like that could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop it.
Sword Rain. Here I come.
If it's in the sky, it's mine.
Sword Rain Alpha.
Elusive deity.
Burn in hell. Kisara. Commander of Heaven.
Phoenix Cyclone.
Begin. Dance on the wind.
Take this.
On your knees.
It's over. No escape.
Prepare to be sealed.
Sword Rain Alpha.
Can't get out of this.
Sword Rain Alpha.
Elusive deity.
Here goes.
Eagle ray.
Don't mind if I do.
Begin. You're mine.
Sword Rain Alpha. You're finished. You picked the wrong fight. You'll pay for that. You're mine. Sword Rain Alpha. Sword Rain Alpha.
Everyone still doing all right?
Never mind us. You worry about you, Rinwell.
Right. I still got fight in me yet.
You picked the wrong fight.
It's weakened.
This ends now. Sword Rain Alpha. Sword Rain Alpha. It's on.
We may be a touch
The Zoogles here are putting up a real fight.
That just goes to show how important this place is.
Or perhaps they simply thrived freely here under such harsh conditions.
I don't give a damn why they're here.
The astral energy here is so dense. It's like trying to walk through water.
I know the Great Spirit's will is in the center of Renan, but with the world in this state, the entire planet has become its body, right? So doesn't that mean we're already inside it?
I would say that is horrifyingly correct. After all, the further we climb, the denser the astral energy becomes.
What's the matter, Rinwell? Are you not feeling all right?
No, it's nothing like that. It just feels like the energy here is a little more intense than it was before.
You mean Renna's energy?
Yeah, it's like when I made contact with Dahna's will in the wedge. It's almost as though I can understand what Renna's will is thinking.
But Rena's will is supposed to be a lot stronger. Aren't we risking the Great Spirit controlling us if we interact with it directly?
I don't think we have to worry about that. Rena's will is only supposed to control true Renans, like the Helganquil. If we can discern what the Great Spirit is thinking too, we might learn something, a weakness. But just to be safe, let me contact it alone.
Are you insane? Rinwell, you're gonna...
Rinwell.
There was only meant to be one world. And your goal is to make them one.
Rinwell? Rinwell, are you okay?
No, I'm fine. I think.
What were you thinking? You could have gotten yourself killed!
He's right. You had us all terrified, Rinwell.
I'm sorry. I really, really am. But I know now. I know how the Great Spirit thinks. I know what it wants. How it feels. Rena's Great Spirit wants to complete the world.
What's that supposed to mean? Are you saying it's trying to make something?
Yes, exactly. Originally, Dahnan and Rena were meant to be one world. But that never happened. They've stayed separated, and the Great Spirit wants to finish the process.
What do you mean, one world? How is that even possible?
I don't know, but its will is clear. That's what the Great Spirit is trying to accomplish. The only problem is that since Rena's energy isn't evenly spread like Dahna's, it seems like it'll vanish before that happens naturally.
So it's trying to absorb Dahnan while it still can, so that it can force the two planets to unite. Is that what you're saying?
The Great Spirit is scared. But it's not scared the way a rational person would be. It's more raw and undiluted. Like just pure fear.
Like an animal, acting out of instinct. Although, admittedly, an animal would be easier to communicate with. At the very least, I have my doubts that it recognizes us as sentient beings with a reason for coming here. Earth, water, fire, and wind energy exist in both worlds, but only darkness and light can be found within Rena and Dahnan, respectively. The Renis Alma, as far as we know, the only host capable of harvesting the astral energy, is composed of all six. Knowing all that, Rinwell's findings do sound plausible.
That sounds a lot like Shionne's thorns, doesn't it? The whole reason the Great Spirit is trying to unite Dahnan and Rena into one world is in order to save itself. And if her thorns are part of the Great Spirit, then they must also be trying to save themselves?
Alphen, what is it?
We thought the only way to free your thorns was for you to die. Yet despite that, they seem to be doing everything in their power to stop that from happening to you. Something wasn't adding up. But then I just realized something. If the Great Spirit doesn't want to die, then neither would your thorns. Those same emotions, that fear, that determination, and its energy must have been the same thing that was keeping you alive. You were its vessel.
In that case, is that why her thorns caused so much pain to anyone who touched her? Because they were trying to protect themselves?
If that's all true, then... well, it's more than a little ironic.
The Great Spirit merely expresses its desires. I imagine it was the Helganquil who were likely tasked with putting together and implementing an actual plan.
Shionne.
I'm okay. We need to hurry and clean this mess up before it gets out of hand.
Still, even if the current state of the world is wrong like you said, does that really make everything okay?
If the world had been whole from the start, as it should have been, there'd be no Dahnan and no Rena. No masters or slaves. No lords, no crown contest. Maybe just peace.
To think, all this started because of the Great Spirit's desire to keep living. The only reason it craves energy is because it's dying from starvation. When you think about it like that, maybe the things it's done aren't so strange after all.
If Rena had been more like Dahnan, things would have worked out a whole lot better.
It's like Hevrecht 35 told us. The Dahnan and Renan spirits are meant to be completely different beings.
Rena's energy amassing in one place led to its developing a powerful will. But that also made it crave energy, sapping Rena dry until it perished.
Whereas Dahna's energy is dispersed, meaning its will never developed to the same extent. And without that hunger, Dahnan the planet was spared.
As for which is correct, well, I'm not sure it's our place to even say. Still, I can't help but think it reminds me a lot of the dichotomy of the human condition.
Dichotomy? What do you mean?
Those who know not satisfaction are driven to keep devouring.